Hi, I'm Michael with Menard Jewelers. Today I'm going to go over the 4C's of diamond, understanding what they mean, and two things most people get wrong about the 4C's of a diamond. If you like videos like this, please subscribe. Click that bell if you want to get notifications for new videos. So looking at the 4C's of a diamond, we've got the color, clarity, cut, and carat. And they're often called the 4C's. You always see pamphlets inside jewelry stores with this stuff on there. And it's also how diamonds are usually graded. And what you usually see is you'll see the color, and it's graded by alphabet. So if you see D, E, F, this is usually your near colorless. These are your really nice diamonds that are very bright, almost look fake because they're super bright. More common is going to be your GHI. Usually I see G is probably the most common. That's just a nice clean white stone. It's not colorless, but to the naked eye, it just looks like a nice white stone. And that's what I see most often. Moving down the line, you start getting into your JKLs. Those are starting to get like a little tint of yellow. And then as you go down the alphabet, the further down you go, the more yellow is in the diamond. And that's how the colors are graded. Next one is clarity. There are 5 different clarities. The flawless, pretty rare. I don't think I've ever seen a flawless stone. I've seen some VVS. I've seen a lot of VS, but flawless, I can't recall ever seeing one. Those are pretty rare. VS, those are going to be your supreme, really high-end stones, usually bigger. If you get small stones, they're usually not graded in here. Your small stones are usually going to be in these 3 because they're so tiny. I don't think the stone graders, or even with my naked eye, it's too tiny to give them one of these properly to really grade it. Maybe some GIA certified GIA appraisal people out there can maybe chime in the comments on whether they ever grade small stones with a flawless. I haven't seen that. But most of what I'll deal with is maybe a large stone that's a VVS, but all my small stones, especially in the custom I do, will either be in the VS, SI, or I. That's what your department store is going to be with. That's mostly what I deal with. And when you get into these 3, you'll have a VS1 or VS2, or you'll have an SI1, SI2, or an I1, or an I2. Sometimes I've seen an SI3, which is basically just an I1. Maybe it was a really nice I1, and so they didn't want to put it in the I category. They wanted to keep it in the S, but technically it was an I. So sometimes I'll see that. But this is basically your clarities. And that has to do with inclusions, whether it's something that breaks the surface, whether it's got carbon in it, or something else. Usually what you're going to see is the carbon, the little black spots that are left inside of a diamond. Sometimes there will be a feather. Things like that. That's going to be usually your clarity of what you're really looking at. If you take a GIA course, it gets a lot more in depth than other things that can be inside the stone. But that's pretty much just simplifying it and keeping it basic. Next one, the next 2 is the cut and clarity. And this is where people usually get confused. I'll often see cuts or even pamphlets where the cut will be the different shapes in rounds, your princess, your marquise, your pears, emeralds, and so on. And that'll be listed as the cut. It's usually on pamphlets that are trying to sell the diamond because they want you to pick a size and how big it is. But when they're grading them, that's not actually the cut that you want to look at when you're buying them. And that's not actually what the graders are going to be doing. So for the cut, what they're actually looking at is how the diamond is cut. So for a round diamond, you're kind of looking at that Superman. That's the ideal cut there. If you get a diamond that is cut very flat, or if you get a diamond that is really deep, so these could both be 1 carat diamonds, but the diamond carat is how much the diamond weighs. It's not a size. It's not a measurement of size. So this is actually weight. So your cut and your carat, that's very crucial, because if you get this diamond, maybe it's a 7 millimeter, right? but it's a 1 carat. So you have like a bigger than normal 1 carat because it's so shallow. This one is also a 1 carat, but it's only 6 millimeters. So it's smaller than a normal 1 carat because it's so deep. And what's really bad about the deep ones, not only are you paying for stone you can't see, but when the light refracts, it doesn't refract properly, and so they end up being a little dark. And with the thin ones, if they get too thin, you can easily break the sides. They get a little brittle on the sides because they're not structurally sound is that ideal cut. So when they grade them, they'll grade them in, you'll have excellent, very good, I'm just going to abbreviate here, good, fair, and poor. So depending on that cut of how deep it is, how well all the facets are cut, and how nice the stone cutter did on making it a really nice cut and a stone that's going to look really good and be durable, it could be any of these 5 different gradings. So that's actually the cut you're looking at is excellent, very good, good, fair, or poor. And so not only is that going to affect how the stone looks, but your carat weight. So as we were talking about, so 6.5 millimeter, that's an ideal cut of the top of what you're looking at for a 1 carat. And that's just going off of what the weight of an ideal cut is and what an approximate millimeter size is. And you can find charts that go all the way from small stones all the way up to larger carats of what an approximate size is going to be for that weight if the stone is cut ideally. So that's what you're going to be looking for or expecting out of a 1 cut. But if it's cut deep, it's going to be less than that. If it's going to be cut shallow, it's going to be more than that. So if you wanted to save money and still get a nice looking stone, what you could do, and there's actually companies out there like Chris Cut that specialize and have special cuts just to do this, is instead of getting the ideal cut, you get one that's just slightly shallow. So if you have your ideal cut, you get one that's maybe 10% less on the bottom to where it doesn't make that big of a difference. And now you've got maybe a 3/4 carat or just under a 1 carat. And now you're paying for a smaller stone because they're sold by the weight. Even as jewelry store owners, we buy stones by the weight. They're always selling stones by how much it weighs, not the millimeter size or the physical size of it. So when you buy a diamond, you're buying it per the carat weight. So if you want something that looks 6.5 millimeter but want to save some money, you can get a slightly shallower stone that the diameter will be the same as that 6.5, and it could save you hundreds or thousands of dollars depending on the rest of this criteria of the diamond. So I hope that helps you, both if you're a customer looking to buy a diamond or if you're a salesperson, because if you're a salesperson, you're going back into your repair shop and you're telling them, I need to set the stone, 1 carat stone in a mounting. Do you have something for me? That doesn't tell me anything because your 1 carat could be either 6 millimeters or 7 millimeters. And maybe I've got a 6 millimeter setting in my findings, but you're wanting to sell something to a customer that's a 7 millimeter. And so, or even worse, sometimes those stone sizes can vary quite a bit depending on how they're cut. Those Chris cuts that I mentioned, I've seen those as much as, depending on the shape of the stone, be as much as a 30% difference in the stone size. So salespeople, please give your jewelers a millimeter size. And if you're looking to buy diamonds, pay attention to the millimeter size and the quality of the cut. Not the shape of the stone, but the quality of that cut. And this goes for all shapes. Whether it's an emerald or princess, you're still going to have the quality of that cut. Because if you have a princess, just as a quick example, you're still going to have your basic stone. If you're looking at your princess stone from the side, right? So sometimes the princess will be really, really big down here, and so sometimes it'll come way down, and these sides, the way they cut it, will actually curve. Or what's worse is if a stone broke and they recut it. sometimes you'll get a lopsided stone, and they'll recut it, and now, depending on where it broke, sometimes you'll get a lopsided stone. Let's see if I can do this here. Where your culet is all the way offset, and maybe one side of your princess stone is flat, and the other one still has its original cut, and you'll get this weird lopsided stone. So not only is that difficult for the jeweler to set a lopsided stone, but then he sets it, and you're looking at it and like, oh, my stone's crooked, but he did the best he could to try and make that look as straight as possible, but the stone was poorly cut, or maybe it was recut because it was broken, and that's as best as he can do with a crooked cut stone. So there's a lot of information there. I hope that helps both salespeople and customers looking to sell or purchase a diamond. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, and subscribe to see more videos like this, and click that bell so you get the notification when those videos go up. Thank you. I'm Michael with Menard Jewelers.